We're getting ready to go, and we are live.
And we are
We
live.
we are live. All right, good humans. I am so excited today to be here with one of our constellation partners. So you may have heard me say from time to time that we don't have an ecosystem; we have a constellation of impact. And what I mean by that is that in an ecosystem, people are kind of like cogs in a wheel, and you can kind of replace a cog. But with a star in a constellation, you can't replace a star. So when you look at like the Big Dipper or Orion's belt or any of those things, right? You see a star has faded, and you can't, or it goes out, it shifts the entire system. And so with Culture Shifters Unite, we have a constellation of impact. Every person, every star is luminous, and it helps us to illuminate not just the work that we're doing, but I I'm moving through like even cultivating like language. It's an ecology of care. That's what we're doing. We want to care deeply for individuals and communities, but to help those who come into our work, who come into our constellation, to be in right relationship with self, so that they can be in right relationship with the communities that they have been charged with to steward. And so I feel like, Rose and I have known each other for several years, and the work that she does just continuously astounds me. It inspires me because it's always femme focused, it is always spiritually rooted, and it looks at ways in which our current culture scape, broscape, continuously attempts to erode and attack um, our matriarch, um, our ways of being that are whole. And she goes into the spheres, I feel, that are most impacted by it, such as the tech space. So, Rose Kaz um, is a system strategist, social entrepreneur, and host of Money, Sex, and Politics podcast, but also the founder of Business for Good. And Rose's work explores the intersections of culture, leadership, power, narrative, and creating space for the conversations where women are too often told that they're too much, too bold, or too complex. And so she's going to help us understand what Business for Good is, why visibility matters, and what it means to build business and lives that are rooted in authenticity and impact. And I'm so honored that this season that Rose has decided to invest in Culture Shifters Unite by supporting us in our shared commitment to cultivating belonging through storytelling, civic imagination, and relational leadership and communal care. So Rose, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Brenda. As always, it is an honor, it's a privilege, it's a thrill. We were just talking in the green room about how, the power of the red lip, the little bit of the wingtip eyeliner and the nails, like this is our uniform. This is you call it our war paint, it's non-negotiable to show up bright. It's a dark time, and we don't need to get into even cliff notes of that right now, but
Mm.
it's every time I get to talk with you, whether it's live on these streams, in the podcast, in our Sunday sessions, even just in a text, it's like we're holding each other, the space. But there's some accountability and there's some kindness, and it's just thank you for having me. In
Oh,
short form, thank you.
no, thank you. And so, as you continue to evolve, I really want you to please let us know what inspired you to create this platform, Business for Good, and what is Business for Good and its impact.
Yeah, thanks, B. So, I know you. We connected through another incredible leader, Bridget Lyons, Chicago gal, and I know you as a poet first, Brenda, and also an incredible leader and a powerful woman at that. We are storytellers, you and I. We have that in common, and I know a lot of our audiences have this in common. Um, this moment of storytelling and of truth telling, but also of community, and as you use the word, civic innovation, civic engagement. How do we continue to be community, and how do we continue to grow and evolve as humans, in a time where the powers that be might like to see us not together as community, as sisters, as humans, as leaders, as all the things, the isms that can bring us together or pull us apart. And, from my perch working in technology, specifically in the last 8-10 years, looking at how tools of technology can really bring us together, and they can also bring us apart. My job as a storyteller is to be sort of this, I hate to use an analogy of a prophet, right? I am not a deity in any way. I'm a regular gal wearing my meat suit here on the planet Earth, but doing my best to really boil down like what technology can do for us if harnessed by leaders who really care for the people directly around us and the circles around that and the circles around that. So looking at concentric circles of care, and that's unplugged, that's analog, that's an old school consideration that I know my granny, your granny, and her granny, like women have cared in concentric circles forever for the people around us. But when it comes to technology and translating how those tools can support us, not just as women in business, but as humans, we all know that when women have what we need, the whole community flourishes. And so essentially what Business for Good is it is a platform where I connect women in leadership to each other to better know each other and be in community. One could say there's a lot of this type of platform on the internet these days, which is great. We should have more of them, right? But my goal is to build the bridges between the communities so that every possible woman with a skill set, a knowledge base that she wants to share to somebody else with, on a 12 out of 10 on the volume to get her message out, be it a podcast, a Substack, a blog, an interview series like this, that those pieces of data, that cultural information, that innovation of civic engagement through technology is accessible to as many women in leadership and in business as possible. And not because I opened the gate, because F a gatekeeper. Anybody who knows me knows I'm like, excuse me, sir, we're coming through, right? But that the tools that maybe have been pushed away from us or not shared with us or said that like that technology isn't for me, or, technology and finance have always been right next to each other. And for me as a young girl, I was told I wasn't good at math and that I could do really well at starting a house cleaning company, or, my Eastern European roots. We love a clean baseboard, but you know what? I got some bigger fish to fry. And I think we should all of us, regardless of who we identify as, our gender, our skin tone, we should have access to the tools that allow for us to expound on our greatness.
Oh my goodness, Rose. And so, as you name your bloodline, and I think that's important for us to remember to whom, came before us. And so as you named your own, matriarchal lineage, I think that and also I loved how you talked about technology and finance being akin to, to one another. And I think that's super important because those are some of the very areas that women are told not to engage in.
Exactly.
Go into. But those are the very things that when we think about leading domestic, abusive domestic situations, right? To set ourselves up, to set our daughters up. Those are the very key areas for liberation for women. Those are the things that can keep us held back and keep us bound. So when you talk about Business for Good, this platform that is a place for wisdom keeping and knowledge, is a membership. I mean, how do we step into this space? How does one, again, build on their thought partnership on Business for Good?
Thanks for that question. So this version, right, the platform that is live now, you can check it out at b4g.biz. This is our second build. So right now we have a prototype. So you could go look on the website right now and see how it would work, right? Just like you would go on Instagram and you could see everybody's pictures, or you go onto LinkedIn and you see the profile of the person in this business. Right now we have a prototype to show you how it will work. We haven't launched it officially yet. That'll be fall of this year, so that we kick off 2027 with like just a lot of gusto towards this consideration of knowledge as a service, right? So you maybe in the past you've heard about software as a service. If you're like me, you used to have a floppy disk. It was the kind of disk where you hold it and you shake it, it's a little floppy. Then you got a CD, right? Remember those things, those circuit things? And now you just download things. All of those were information holders, but where the information came from is individuals. So now we're looking to this era of knowledge as a service, where Brahenda's knowledge, Rose's knowledge, Tori's knowledge, Linda's knowledge, any of these people are exchanging knowledge on the platform. We don't have a membership model just yet, because what I've been doing is interviewing women since the last launch a couple of years ago, where I want to be sure that exactly the way this works is how all of the women I've been speaking to want it to work. So what you can do now is you can check out the website. You can see the prototype. It's a little bit like a LinkedIn meets you talking to your neighborhood girlfriend on like where the best resources for this thing, but it's in one super safe place online. And
So
I
like,
want to put it
meets the group chat.
meets the group. There you go. Thank you. I'm going to put that on my pitch deck. LinkedIn meets the group chat. Because, how many times have you been in circle or in communication, and the intention for the room is this thing, which is awesome, and then someone's like, by the way, I'm looking for this kind of person who can help me with this thing. It happens all the time, and it happens in all sorts of circles. But what I find is when women do that sort of sharing and exchanging of information, it is fast, it is furious, it is intentional, and it is innovative AF, y'all, because we get shit done, right? And so that mechanism, the way that we share, just think about it, like anything from taking a picture of your breakfast on through to like posting your top 5 ways that people who do the social media. But even for those of us who have a little bit of ick when it comes to sharing online, there is information inside of each of us. And so my goal with Business for Good in this iteration is that every woman who has knowledge to share, like I said, it's on a Substack already, but you need to get it out further. It's on a podcast, but you want the volume up louder. You have started a blog, but you have an information set, a knowledge set that is golden, right? And so this B4G platform is really looking at how many women we can get into the same digital space who can book time with each other, but also get paid. And that's the key part. How many of us women have consistently been like, yeah, you can pick my brain. Yeah, let's go have coffee. And like 2 hours later, you got a $8 coffee by now. But that's not paying our bills. And we do know that we women, we are over half of the global population.
That's right.
We are over half of the United States population. When it comes to how currency is spent, even though we don't get paid the same as the guys, and we know the darker the skin, the less we're getting paid as women, which is just straight up BS. But to quote a really fantastically ridiculous movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the men are the head and the women are the neck. And when it comes to the spending in the economy, we also know that to be true. So what if we have a platform where we're actually taking all of the knowledge we have and we're paying each other for it? And then we can take that purse and use it where we wish in our own communities.
I love it. So, of course, on my Substack, we have an intro for you into the work. And of course, we'll make sure that there's links here in the show notes so that people can hop on over to Business for Good, which is very simple. It is B for good, right?
B the number 4G.biz.
.biz. And so we'll make sure that that's linked here in the show notes. But I also want to ask you, Rose, and of course, when it comes to our money, particularly as women, what inspired you to say, you know what, I'm investing in Culture Shifters Unite. I want to support this platform. I want to support the forward movement of it. What inspires you to say yes to it?
Because it's imperative for me as a woman in the world who definitely as soon as I learned what a feminist was, I was like, oh, yeah, am I a woman? Yeah, I'm a feminist. Obviously, it's the radical idea that women are creatures and humans too. Like, hello. Yeah, we are. But the more I learned about the history of feminism, the history of the history, history is called his story for a reason. Hello, right? And so as a white lady in this world right now, my job, outside of like breaking down what technology actually does and that it's a tool and when the right people have it, good things can happen. My job is to take leadership directives from women of color. My job is to invest in those containers that women of color are putting forward. And my job is to help propel those containers forward and not stand on top of them, but stand next to and or behind them. Because I've been in front of the camera, I've been aside of the camera, I've been behind the camera as a producer my whole life. And so I have been the star. Thank you, Constellation. I like it. But I also have the power and the sovereignty in me rooted so that when women of color tell me to get behind or get in front, like I'm going to listen. And when Brenda gave me the opportunity to invest in, being a Constellation partner, I was like, yes, I can do that right now. I can definitely make time and space. And I'll be also super transparent. Like I am not, I'm working in technology, but I'm trying to come up with a new word because I'm not working in tech and like living in SF and being like, let me write the 6K, 10K check. Like I'm startup scrappy budget. I'm pulling up by my bra straps over here.
And we love it.
The importance of putting my money where my mouth is beyond. And I'll land the plane here. B is like, I see the impact that your work does. I see how hosting conversations in person throughout your region and what I can do to just simply like help to make that happen in the littlest ways. Like, why not? And I hope that more people generally, but certainly women and definitely white women, step to the side, but also keep supporting from whatever angle we can to say like the only way that this world will go forward is if we write new stories and we not allow because that's not some, again, gatekeeping, but we ensure that the stories of the most disrespected become the most respected, and that is the stories of women of color.
Oh my goodness, Rose. Oh my gosh. I mean, and that is such a powerful note for us to land this plane on. So I am so grateful to you
Likewise, my
and
friend.
the work that you're doing to get women paid for their knowledge. Because yes, how many times do we hear, let me pick your brain, but also the ways in which you pay it forward, the ways that you stand, not just as an ally, but as an intercessory ally with us, the ways in which this helps propel, Culture Shifters Unite forward, because we have a podcast, we have a talk show, we have a networking, but I think more than these offerings, the intent is remembrance, so that we remember who we are, what we're made of,
Yes.
and the of matriarchal framework. When we were coaching together, we talked about the grandmothers. When the grandmothers speak, the 13 indigenous grandmothers. This is the way in which Culture Shifters operates, because we want to have more and more people, particularly women folk, to come into community and transform the world. Even though this is here in Detroit, we have a global reach, and we have people on our podcast from all over the country. So again, Rose, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you are and everything that you do.
Right back at you, sis. Thank you.
All right. I love you. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is one of our Constellation partners. And if you want to know how you too can become a Constellation partner, check out our Substack, BrehendaWilliams.com. But you can go to Brehenda Williams on Substack and find out how you can be part of the Constellation. Rose, thank you so much.
Thanks, B. My pleasure.
All right. Talk to you soon, friend.
Bye.
Bye.